Hey guys, welcome back to the Off the Script podcast, episode 53. And we are joined by returning guests, Caitlin, Savannah. Woo. Welcome back.
Hello.
Woo!
Back. Good to be back.
Good to have you back. Some things have changed since you guys were last on. Caitlin is now a week out, and the mood lighting and maybe energy levels this podcast might reflect that. We'll see.
Maybe.
And when was last time we had you on, Sav? You were like...
Sav wasn't that long ago. It was like 4 months ago.
Okay, it's not too bad then.
I was definitely still fat, so it was longer. Yeah, it was a while ago. I was still fat.
Yeah,
That doesn't mince words.
I mean, when people call you fat, Sav, you can't do anything with that.
Oh, that's fucked up.
It's a weird industry we're in. We're like, oh yeah, I was fat a few months ago. The thing is though, like we'd actually have to fully force feed ourselves to get legit gem pop fat, won't we?
I don't understand how people get to the size they get to. Like,
Oh my God, tell me about it.
Man.
Don't get me wrong, I got pretty chunky, but like not obese.
Yeah. I went to because obviously it was my birthday over the weekend. Not to plug
Hey.
Split that there.
I was 22. It's fucking boring. But I ended up going and meeting some friends at like a local pub. Had a Coke, of course, you know. And some of the people who were just there, like I tend to avoid regular human beings, I think. And I remembered why. There's just the majority of men who were there all had just like they were wider at the midsection than they were at the top. And I looked, and that just sort of baffled me.
Perfect for the classic division.
Yeah. That's what peak male performance looks like. It just really confused me. I was just like, it is kind of mind blowing. Like when you're removed from Gen Pop, like people.
Hey, don't shit on the peak male performance. I mean, they're probably more sterile than we're going to be.
Yeah, it's very true.
You know. But yeah, how's everyone's bank holiday Monday going? It'll probably be like Thursday, Friday when this goes live. So.
It's going all right. It's going all right, mate. How are you doing, Medium Joe? How's it going?
Good. Yeah, I did chest and biceps today. Very nice.
Anyone else training?
Oh yeah, kind of the same.
Yeah.
I was on a chesty pumpy session today, which was the worst.
Really?
Oh well, yeah, because I couldn't train to failure.
Yeah.
One of them ones. One of them. I didn't even realise it was bank holiday. That's how far into this hole I am.
That's a good place to be, though.
Oh my God! Yeah, I don't know what day it is normally.
Yeah, makes
the Hames hole. Yeah.
Yes, I'm in a Hames hole at the minute.
Awful. I have that as well though. Like anytime you have to dial it back at all, training wise, like whether it's like for fatigue management or whatever, I hate it. So I feel that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think if I knew that this was like the only show that I was doing, I wouldn't be too bothered. But it's like I've got more shows after this. I just want to keep the logbook up, but it's one of them.
Can we actually have a quick list of shows that you're doing, Kate, for the viewers at home?
So far, I've only got 2 planned. I'm doing the Graftism, which this might come out before that is sort of done, which is this Sunday, the 5th. And then I'm actually doing the Arnold's, which is the 1st of October, I believe. Maybe another one, but who knows?
Very exciting. And Sav, you've been dieting as well.
I've been dieting for a very, very long time. Yeah, I hit my peak weight early mid-March, and I was sort of hovering, kind of trending down for a little while, and then we ended up going balls deep. So I've been dieting for quite a long time now. I think I'm a good 13 kilos down from my heaviest now.
Jesus.
Yeah, quite
Sounds
a lot.
like me.
Yeah.
That is an impressive amount actually to drop.
Yeah.
For our height.
Because we're both like 5 foot and a little bit. You don't realise, because we've both said as well, the way that I distribute fat is quite all right. You know, I can gain 10 pounds and it kind of goes to the areas that just make me look like I've got more muscle than I actually have.
Yeah.
And so it's quite okay. But then it gets to the point where I'm like, oh, yeah, I'd like to be lean now. I'd like to have some abs now. And I'm like, I fucking lost 30 pounds and I'm not shredded. What is this?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. I have like actually, to be fair with me, my body fat distribution is all kinds of fucked up because my legs stay a lot leaner than my upper body, and I have a fat back. So it's good. Like my posterior chain is just fat, and then like
sounds like Josh Bridgman.
Is that what he's like as well?
Yeah, well, to be fair, his legs are, he's like the front of him looks ready like 5 weeks out.
Yeah. With me, my lower body gets in like, well, last season my lower body like came in like pretty much on time with everything else, but then it took me way longer to put on any fat in my lower body. Like my legs looked better like a month post show than they did like actually like when I was competing. Like the fullness just went to my legs. So yeah, it fucking sucks. I hate that. I just prefer to have like an even distribution, to be fair, and actually look like somewhat even, as opposed to just having legs which are like quite lean, considering I've like pushed up for the past 2 years and I can still see like hamstrings and shit in certain lighting, like my hamstrings.
You know what that means?
What?
You need to have cross striations when you compete.
That's it. That's the expectation now, to have just peeled everything.
From 20 weeks out.
Yeah. Pre-contest, I'll be shredded already. Yeah, that's the plan. Fuck my knees. So, what do we want to get into today? While we're on.
So, has anyone got anything they actually want to talk about first?
Off the top of my head, no, but I'm sure that we will go onto a tangent. Did you get any good questions, mate?
Nothing controversial this time.
That's
well,
disappointing.
Sort of, but not really.
I kind of want to bring back the question of, if you had 3 lives, how have you waste them? I quite like that question. I feel like we should bring that back. Funny.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We'll do that towards the end, though. We'll get through some of the ones.
Cool. I'll start thinking.
Yeah. I'll start off with a nice one. Most memorable training session.
I think potentially one of my favorite training sessions. I actually went to AJ's house in lockdown. It was me, him, and Finn. And this was literally the first time that I'd been on any kit in months. And I remember just getting absolutely done in. That was pretty cool. The session took 4 hours.
Good shit.
That's a Thorburn length session, that. But yeah, it was solid 4 hours. And yeah, that was probably one of the best sessions. And then I don't know, when I trained with Cuba and Meg, that was pretty fucking cool as well.
What about yourself?
Yeah, do you know, I was a bit lost on that one, actually, because I've been dieting that long. It's not that the intensity drops in your training, but I think just the mood going into it is a little bit different. But that entire lockdown training period, I mean, that was it. Looking back, that's an absolute trip, isn't it? It feels like one big acid trip. Like,
yes,
is that really like training back gardens and shit and manufacture kit as if we're fucking Atlantis or something. Some of them sessions, yeah, to be fair, when I was like peak off season, strength felt fucking sick in a completely empty gym with my like angry music playing out, like RDL PBs, squat PBs. There were some fucking sick sessions before it got a little bit too much. We'd all had enough, and we'll let people just
I don't know if Jermaine or
it's like boot camp, and it was just unreal. Like the energy going into them sessions, it was like every session was the last session of my life.
What are you saying, Caitlin?
I was just going to say, I don't know if Jermaine or Joe got the chance to train in the gym over lockdown when it was basically just to yourself, but Sav nailed it. It's, it was something else.
I won't say what the gym is, of course, but I was able, towards the back end of the first lockdown trainer gym, and those like first few sessions straight at that gym, I felt so unbelievably blessed to be able to even use kit that isn't like the wagon wheels or me strapping dumbbells to a barbell.
Have you still got the wagon wheels?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's all like all my lockdown kits like wrapped up in like in the new build of like my parents' house. Pretty good.
I think it was something about the adrenaline of it as well. I mean, I remember being in that gym, and there's a CCTV camera in the corner of the room, and a police car parks outside the gym, and I'm like, oh shit, they're coming, we're getting popped. Something about that, like I said, every session was like, this could be the last session. This could be, I might not train in the gym again for months. I need to make it count.
I mean, there's always a prison gym, you know.
The prison, yeah, of course, yeah. But it did feel like I get that, like for the period of time I was training at that gym in that lockdown, I felt like I was a part of some weird cult.
Yeah.
And I made like a suicide pact with everyone in there. Like they were all like, we could like train here, but tomorrow we could all be in jail. So it's just kind of fun.
So retarded to say.
When you think about it, like it's kind of baffling. That's what it came to.
Fucking hell. I think my favourite creation though that came of that was, I didn't have an Olympic bar, so we had the 15 kilo one. It was rusty as fuck, and it was like with the spin on plates and fastener, but we had to spin on like 25-30 kilos worth of kettlebells onto this 15 kilo bar, and we didn't even have a flat surface to deadlift on, or really it was kind of like that.
Nice.
So, but yeah, it was fun, man.
Yeah. Lockdown sessions, man.
And I got to train outside, which is actually quite nice.
We can look back on it fondly now, but let's never ever do it again.
Yeah, fuck.
No.
I will riot. I don't want that again. No, thank you.
I will see you all at the prison gym.
Yes. Yeah. To be fair,
what would you do to get into jail?
Yeah, but what's the sentence? That's what I mean.
That's a good question.
Okay, here's a question. How would you murder someone and try and get away with it?
Okay.
Okay, so I've thought about this a lot, actually.
Okay, all right.
So you need to think about the toxicology reports. Okay. Inject someone with insulin, let their blood sugar go so low that they die. That wouldn't come up on the toxicology report, and then feed them to pigs, because pigs eat bones.
I love how there's not even a change in facial expression throughout the whole explanation.
That honestly, if I ever had to kill someone, piece of piss.
Oh.
I genuinely think I'd be able to get away with it.
Well, not now, because you've told everyone you fucked.
Well, no, but I'm obviously not going to kill someone. But you know,
wink.
It's nice to know that if I wanted to, I could maybe.
Is that something?
But I haven't thought about it.
Is that something you've been thinking about because you're like in a prep, or is that just like something that's come into your head at some point?
No, I just like true crime stuff.
Oh, fair enough.
I think you just pick up on shit like that, don't you?
I put the Breaking Bad. I definitely do the bathtub
to melt the floor.
Yeah, just yeah. I just melt it so that there's just like a half dissolved body in the corridor.
You could just drop the wagon wheel on.
Well, there's still a body. That's the.
Just at that point, I don't know. What would you do? I don't know. Throw it in a wheelie bin. Hope it goes in the recycling bin.
Throw it in a wheelie bin.
Yeah. Hopefully the recycling people just throw it in there without.
I was going to say, I bet they don't actually check.
I don't think they do. I bet you could end up. I bet you could get away with it. You could end up having this body halfway across the country in a landfill somewhere, and no one would know. And they probably wouldn't find it either.
Okay. You can see the difference in planning though through Jermaine's idea and Caitlin's idea.
I'm getting caught straight away.
Do you think I'd get away with it?
Yeah. Have you got any ideas, Sam? You kind of look like you have a murderer in you. So.
I feel like Sav's got some good ideas.
I mean, I was a big Dexter fan when that was on Netflix.
Did eat them.
I quite liked, the precision that he went at it with. That was, get the cling film in the room, lay him down, scare him a little bit. He had a goat though, didn't he? I'm not quite middle class.
Yeah, I love Fear. Yeah.
Oh, that's cracked me up. Actually, saying that, I mean, depends how questionable my morals would be as a psychopath. But I probably would just bag them up and freeze their meat because that's protein that I'd have to butchers otherwise. So
mad cow disease all day long.
Yeah,
you can make your own GH from them.
No, I'd leave the head alone.
Oh, okay.
I'd sell the kit. I'd sell it off to
you're not going to extract growth hormone from the pituitary gland.
Yeah.
How do they actually make growth hormone? Is that me being weird? Like how do
they can create it like synthetically, I think, but a lot of the time, originally they did it from cadavers of pigs and shit, didn't they?
And babies.
Yeah. They'd like
stem cells from fetuses.
Yeah, they take like dead cadavers and
Jesus Christ, that's quite disturbing.
Not anymore, don't worry.
Well, that's that's how they got gear in the first place, wasn't it? Germany was like, we need to get
now it's made from sunflowers. Great.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they were bigger in the 90s. I've always said, ever since I was a kid, like frozen lamb leg, bash around the back of the head.
Oh, classic. Yeah.
Put the lamb in the oven, evidence gone, and then all you have to do is dispose of the body.
So the murder weapon's gone. Smart. I like that. That's good.
I mean, you could have just like pretended that fell over and hit the head, but instead you go in with frozen meat.
Yeah.
I didn't say I was going to freeze the meat. I just said dispose of the body.
Meaty club. Yeah.
I'll carry him around in a carpet. I'll carry him around in that naan bread from my story yesterday and throw him off a bridge somewhere.
God.
I've never seen a naan so big in my life.
That is, to be fair, they wouldn't be able to smell it. They just smell Peshwari, just the coconut.
Yeah.
That was immense.
What's that in there? Just some cocoa butter, mate. Don't worry about it.
How much was it for that naan?
Let's move on for this.
£3.50.
Not bad.
Pretty good. So that was my final off-plan meal before starting today. So
good shit. Worth it. Got your fucking money's worth, that's for sure.
It was nice, man. It was really nice. They gave us like a free like chickpea fucking vegetarian one as well.
Oh, like a dog.
I don't know if this is just me being on prep, but if I were to ever get an off-plan meal, I would never be able to go for Indian because I just feel like I would end up on the toilet for like.
It's all right, natural diuretic.
Gas mark 10.
I think with my heritage, maybe I could get away with it. I might be able to pull a Nathan D'Asher off, maybe.
Yeah.
I think I could do it.
Yeah, my waist came in 4 inches this morning.
Can you imagine?
Right, one for Sav. Highlights of working in the supplement industry.
Ooh. I should have an instant answer, shouldn't I? More of an advocate. Obviously, it's nice to be able to try products here and there. It's nice to be part of, I guess, like have a little bit of a say in like the NPD side of things. And so, I mean, I know that Rick from Strom's Masterfulness, he creates products that he would want or that people close to him would want. And even though that's not necessarily my area, I'm not in NPD, I'm not in innovation, it's like a small team. And so there is a degree of what is missing from the industry, what could we bring out, what products have been done but not so well that we could improve upon, things like that. And being able to I guess put your own experience. I use everything. If something new comes out, I want to try it. And to be able to say, well, that could be tweaked, that could be improved, that brand does that really well, I really like what that brand does, and then do something that's new. Contacts, getting to meet people in the industry is cool. Some fucking cool people in the supplement industry, especially in the UK. I think in the UK it's a small world, everyone knows each other. And so once you've spoken with this person and that person, it opens a lot of doors, like even yesterday I went to an event and there was someone there who works for CMP and he's originally from Hull, and so I know him and there's a lot of mutual people that we know.
I think the majority of the supplement industry comes from Hull.
Yes, we are all from Hull, basically.
Everyone. Joe Binley's from there.
To be fair, yeah, there must be something in the water, something in the Humber.
Yeah, it's probably all the fucking pre-workout powder that's gone down the toilet.
But yeah, genuinely, I love it. It's the only full-time job I've ever had has been in supplement industry in various areas. Everything from customer service to trading, merchandising, marketing, sales, wholesale. Like I've always been in supplement industry, and that is for good reason. That I haven't gone off into something else. Where I could maybe get a marketing job and do something slightly different. I do love it.
Good shit. Yeah, I actually asked you about this the other day, Sab, because I was looking at some jobs now that I am post-grad, potentially looking at some jobs in the supplement industry or like working with nutrition labels and stuff like that.
Just make your own underground lab, Jermaine. It's fine.
That's not the same thing, my friend. I'm sorry to say. There's a big difference between a scoop of defib and a few vials that I'd be shipping out. I'll go with the defib. I'm looking at it because I'm in the process now of looking for a stable job which will basically allow me to make the eyes of the government happy that I have income coming in so I could actually buy a property. Like I can put down for a house now, but the thing stopping me is like they require like back tracing of like employment and stuff like that. So that might be something that I look to get into as well. It's quite exciting.
I mean, if you do want to be self-employed, I think the only reason most people have issues is that they're not properly registered, they're not paying the tax.
Yeah.
Like me, my coaching, it's like it's a small part of me income, but I am registered as a sole trader. I do pay my tax, and so my books are all done by an accountant. If you are just going, oh yeah, just PayPal me 100 quid, mate. Just bank transfer me 50 quid here. Yeah. When you go to speak to a mortgage advisor, I'm going to say, okay, but you don't have a legitimate job.
I'm in the process currently of setting all that up. So I'm in the process of setting up like Go Cardless and stuff like that, because they do, from what I've seen, they do like your tax and everything pretty much for you. So you can set it up so you can just have it automated, so they take it every financial year. So, but the annoying part is like the people I've spoken to who are listed like as sole traders through coaching and stuff, they're like, some of them have been like listed for over a year and they still can't do it. And a lot of it I think is down to age group as well. Like a lot of coaches nowadays are quite young. So it's a bit of an area like, of debate for people who are actually getting into property. But yeah, no, I'm very interested at maybe getting a job in the supplement industry for the time being as well, to go along with coaching. So.
Right. That special question that hopefully Kate has a few answers for.
Oh.
Details of a training split, working sets per body part, etc.
Okay. I feel like people want an answer that I'm not going to give, but I literally just do what everyone else does: push, pull, rest, legs, rest. That's what works for me in regards to recovery. The thing is, though, I'm actually looking to change that potentially going into off season. But what I've run through as soon as I stepped off stage in 2019 till this point, push, pull, rest, legs, rest. And I've never had an issue coming round the next rotation feeling like shit. And if I do, I'll just deload anyway, every sort of 8 weeks-ish. In regards to how many sets per muscle group, I would actually have to work it out. But in general, in a push session, probably about 8 to 10 sets for shoulders, maybe 4 to 6 for chest, and 4 to 8 for tricep. Like nothing crazy, not like low, but not high at all. I think rather than looking at exactly how many sets per muscle group, learn to train to failure first, and your body will tell you how many sets you need to be doing. Because at the minute, I think if you were to be coached by any sort of coach, whether that's a really good coach, or actually a really good coach would probably not put you on the normal split if you're a beginner. But most people nowadays will just put you on push-pull legs, one working set, one back off. And the thing is, most people actually can't train hard enough to warrant that. So they will probably be under-training, and that's why they're not growing. And then they'll put on the story that they're eating like 5,000 calories a day, but they're just getting fucking fat because they're not actually training in the gym. So I think rather than looking at how many working sets, train to absolute failure first, and then your body will literally just tell you what you need to do. I know that's quite a vague answer, and if someone had told me that like sort of a couple of years ago, I'd have been like, what do you mean by that? But just go do it. Just go train until you literally can't move, and your sort of working sets will fall into range. Like in off season, I'm fine with doing two sets for deadlifts, but now in prep I can only do one. And throughout off season and prep, I literally just ran one set for hack the whole time, never more than one, because I just couldn't. That next set would just be shit. I'd rather take 2, maybe even 3 sets on leg press in loads of different rep ranges, because I could lock in more. Whereas I feel like for hack, you can lock in, do that one set, but if you try and go again, neurologically and like systemically, you're just gone. But yeah, that's what I'd say. I know the person that asked the question, so what I'll do is I'll message her specifically like how many sets and stuff, because me saying it isn't really going to mean anything. But
and then you'll get all
learn to train properly, and it'll all fall into place.
Yeah, to chime in on that as well, like I'm a very like good example of that, where I systematically every year I end up somewhere within training or nutrition beating my head against a brick wall until someone has to shout me down and say, you just stop doing that. Like, because
you're a powerlifter at heart.
Shut up. No, I'm not. Never have been, never will be. But like I had it last year with like leg training was a great example of it, where I ran push-pull legs, the same split I'd had on prep right up until maybe, I think it was like Feb last year, pretty much. And then I was looking at like comparisons, like prep to that point in time. I was like, I've actually barely made the growth that I wanted to make, like in that time frame. And off the back of that, my training dropped off. Like instead of like an 8-day split, push-pull legs or pull-push legs, it turned into 5 training days over a week. And then onto like what I'm doing now, which is a pull-push rest, legs, I guess limb or metabolic day rest. And like I'm on the lowest training volume I've ever been on, but I've grown on this better, doing less. And sometimes like some people as well are training hard enough, but they're not meeting the other demands like outside of that. Like they're not recovering, they're not eating enough or whatever. So there's the flip side of that.
I mean, I'm completely with you two. This is the first time that I've dieted, and I say this to myself every time I start dieting, that I've actually allowed myself to do less as the diet's gone on rather than do more, because I think we'll all agree, you know, I mean, I don't always have a physical logbook, but I do have an awareness of, oh, you know, the best I've done on this machine is this amount, and oh, you know, a year ago I was doing this on that machine or that lift or whatever. And as you diet, it's very easy to go, oh, I'm 2 reps down, so I'll do a drop set to make up the volume, or I'll do another straight set to make up the volume, and then it'll be okay. But actually what you've got to do is go, do you know what, actually maybe I shouldn't be doing 2 sets, maybe I should do 1 set, maybe I shouldn't train 5 days a week, maybe I should train 4 days a week. And this is
It's literally your body, isn't it?
Yeah, that I've allowed myself to actually do that and to actually pull back. And as a result, I found that by doing that, my training right now is better than it was a month ago when I was maybe, you know, 3-4 kilos heavier, because the quality of the sets has improved simply by doing less and by focusing on, you know, making them fucking good instead of trying to do shit volume for the sake of, you know, some stupid maths in my head where I'm saying, oh, well, 3 sets of 12 or 2 sets and then a drop set at the end is the same as that top set that I was doing 3 months ago.
Yeah, for sure. And like the other thing is like with the high intensity thing, people do, myself included, get sucked into it revolving around load and load driving intensity, when in reality it's the other factors in the set that are driving intensity. Like I know people right now, like I think a good example is, I think Finn's doing it from when I last spoke to him on leg day. He's doing like a set which is like 30+ rep set, like single leg press or something, and he's getting progression off of that. That's not load that's like, you know, 6 to 10, that's load 30+ reps. So it's intensity that's going to drive that growth. So get good at sets.
I mean, for me, post-show last year, and for quite a lot of months, you know, when my food was progressively going up, when my body weight was progressively going up, I was training legs 2.5 to 3 times a week. And I felt fucking phenomenal, and I was progressing every session, and it was great. But then as I was coming down, it got to a point where like every session was shit. Every session I was going backwards and I was having tantrums and I was getting upset. And sometimes you just got to kind of let go and focus on, well, maybe just do 1 leg day and just make it really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with everything everybody said. So, right, I said we had no controversial questions, but we kind of do.
Okay.
Following on from our episode with Jack Richardson,
okay,
Jermaine, thoughts on fat loads?
Okay, interesting. Anyone in particular who asked this, or is this just a general one? That's
general.
Okay, so I was speaking to someone else, a client, about this because they asked me. I'm of the opinion that currently, unless someone convinces me otherwise, I'm of the opinion that I would not push for a natural, at least, to do fat loading. I understand the idea of, you know, you have intramuscular triglycerides, and obviously there's a thought process behind diuresis and using like certain mechanisms in the body and manipulating that to get a similar effect to doing like a general carbohydrate load or something. But at the end of the day, unless you've been doing like a borderline ketogenic diet or something like that, or like sub 50 grams of carbohydrate. Are you holding your finger up, Caitlin?
Oh yeah.
I struggle to see the benefit of doing that when you've been using carbohydrates as the main source of energy. And like carbohydrates in the body, typically your body, the human body, runs off of carbohydrates for the vast majority of people better than it does off of fat substrates, like using ketones and stuff like that. And like you'd have in a ketogenic diet, or even like a moderately high protein low carbohydrate diet. But even then, like if your protein's like fairly high, like if you're pushing proteins like a lot of bodybuilders do, then you're going to get gluconeogenesis anyway. Your body's just going to be making carbohydrates from other substrates just because the body wants to do that. So that's my thought process. I'd prefer to do an approach of carbohydrates and fats, although I'm yet to speak to someone who's extremely clued up on the topic. So I'm open to discussion on that. Which I think,
am I the only one here who's actually done that protocol?
I think so, maybe. So
yeah,
cover that.
This was what I did last year for my peak weeks. I think I can't remember specifics, but I think there were maybe 2 days early in the peak week that were protein plus fats, and then maybe another 3 days of protein plus carbs, and then it was back to my baseline diet, which at the time was protein only. Sure, it was also protein only.
Okay.
For me personally, I mean, this is not a criticism of the entire, theory behind it at all, because I've seen it work incredibly well with people. For me, I don't think it worked particularly well. I think I will just say, because the majority of my prep was on protein only, and so we'd seen how my body responded coming down on protein only. I hadn't been eating dark chocolate, I hadn't been eating peanut butter, I hadn't been eating cream of rice, I hadn't been eating oats.
Okay.
And so it was very based on theory. It wasn't based on what works for Savannah's body. I will always vouch for, do the nasty bit, get flat, get stringy, get ready early, and then have a couple of weeks to, as you say, introduce those mixed meals, trickle in some carbs, trickle in some fat, up it a bit more, lower expenditure a bit more, lower expenditure a bit more. And then if you have to at some point go back down to some sort of baseline diet that's more or less protein only, then so be it. But then if you need that final increase to bring you back to life, you should know exactly what quantities are needed and where. Whereas my peaks were somewhat based on guesswork, because I hadn't had either of those macronutrients in my diet at any point. So yeah, I mean, I think maybe if you've been able to eat a decent amount the entire prep, it might work a little bit better. But yeah, it's not something that I would be keen to try again on me personally.
Okay. Caitlin, do you want to cover that? Because I think you probably have a somewhat of a better understanding than me.
So we're not, obviously I'm in peak week now, we're not really peaking for the show, we're just continuing fat loss. However, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, I think we've added like 20 grams of fat. My non-training day was pretty much like moderate protein and a little bit of fat. So all we've done is add like 5 grams of fat to each meal using the same source. So it's gone up a little bit, but nothing crazy at all. Like this is basically baseline diet plus a little bit. I guess we'll see what happens this week. But by sort of October, we'll probably do like a legit peak where I have a better answer. I was trying to do a lot of research on fat loading, and I think you could have all the on paper evidence in the world, but just show me pictures of people that have done it. If they look good, cool. If not, fair enough. It's one of them things. We're actually going to add a little bit of carbs in Thursday, Friday, just to gain a little bit of fullness. But for females especially, I don't think there's much that you should really change in a peak week at all.
Unless why I don't feel it works too well with me, because I was never a particularly muscular female going into it, I feel like was there an awful lot to fill out? Probably not, Maybe that's part of why
absolutely. People like I don't know if you know, obviously Sarah Bradley, Tom has obviously peaked her. And she had to load on like over 1,000 grams of carbs just because she's got actual muscle. And it's cool to watch when a peak is an actual peak, but a lot of the time these peak weeks for smaller muscled individuals, I think it's just a case of saying that you're doing something on peak week for the sake of saying it. Obviously it's a whole different ball game for maybe classic physique, bodybuilding, women's physique, women's bodybuilding, and it obviously works well on some people, but I don't really have an opinion yet until I do it on myself, and until I do it on myself properly, where you actually fat load, not just add an extra 5 grams. I don't think I'd be able to say, and we've got a long time until I'm muscular enough for that. So till then, I will just do what I'm doing.
Interesting. I think that's something that I was thinking as well in regards to fat loading. I could see, in theory, more of there being more of a like valid argument for larger people doing something like that, who have that muscle, like have a large amount of muscle, like maybe even more than they need, for what they're doing. Maybe them doing it because like the idea of using like and manipulating your body to in using that protocol, from what I've seen, to like pull water away, that was like a big thing with it. But I don't really know what the origin of like fat loading is. Like I know that obviously there's a lot of stuff on like Physique Collective about it.
Well, it was used in the 70s and 80s. Like it's not something that's been
it's
miraculously pulled out of someone's arse. It's been going on.
Something that I've heard of before as well with like fighters. I know that like some fighters use a similar protocol, like to pull water and to pull fluid so they can lose weight.
It's an energy source that's not bound by water, right? So carbohydrate. There's no.
So I think currently at present I'm not going to formulate the opinion at all that anything is like wrong, because I don't think there is at the end of the day a wrong way of doing things unless it's fucking your health.
I think for the most part it depends on how the rest of the prep's gone.
Yes, 100%.
Because it's like in Sav's case, if there's been no fats or no carbohydrates, that in implementation of a new macronutrient that you've not been used to, even if it's for like 2 to 3 weeks, is going to be an unnecessary inflammatory response that your body doesn't know what to do. So there's more chance of that going wrong. Whereas if you've managed to be prepped or prep yourself in a way where your ratios between fats and carbs has been moderate throughout, I think that adjusting the ratios of fats to carbohydrates makes sense due to the fact that there is theory behind the fact that you can fill out intramuscular triglycerides and things like that. But if you do it in the presence of carbohydrates, you get the benefits of both.
Yeah.
I personally have not seen anything, both anecdotally and what I've studied, to say that sole fat loading without the presence of carbohydrates can bring about any sort of new or improved look than carbohydrates can do by themselves. It just seems a bit faddy to me.
Yeah, I think this is where getting ready early and just
That's
literally just
trialing
it.
Yeah, you can piss around and have a look what happens. So
that, I think that's the only time that you can definitively say this is why we're doing this. Other than that, when you're running into a first show, it's guesswork, especially with a coach that it's their first time prepping you, first show, maybe not 100% lean yet already, because a lot of the time for your first show you don't come in at 100%, because if you come in at 100%, then consequently normally a finals later in the year you will look worse. So I think you just don't know
what 100% is yet. So
well, yeah, who knows what 100% is on anyone.
For sure.
I mean, but there's no comparative look, is there? Like, you've not looked at that certain way before. So
I think,
well, yeah, because you have a completely different physique each year, or at least you should do as a bodybuilder, getting bigger and better if you look the exact same every year, then that'd just be shit all round, really.
That'd be depressing.
You'd be a body main gainer.
Make
Not body.
atrophy builder. Oh no, something like that.
That's oxymoron. Nice.
I know, yeah. You're just
Fuck
staying in one place, just spinning your wheels. Yeah, for me at the minute, like if I were to, let's say, take a first time like into a show, doesn't matter what division or class they're competing in, I'd prefer to do like more of the mountain dog method of like slowly loading with carbohydrates, drip feeding stuff in, over doing anything that's like overly drastic and arguably could increase stress. And
one thing I would add as well, if I was to do it personally, I think if you football for the individual who's not been exposed to carbs and fats for a while, and the person who has been, when using it in excessive amounts, I'd go for fat source, say such as salmon or red meat. Go for a higher fat rather than a processed fat like peanut butter or nut butter or something like that, just because there's less chance for shit to go tits up, especially with the digestive.
I'm actually using sesame oil, which is oh my god, I never knew that oil could taste so good. Fuck
it's
me.
like if I have an air, right, there's just nothing.
Oh my god, sesame oil. What? So what does my fat load?
The World Food
Are
Aisle.
you just drizzling that on your food then? Like,
yeah, I'm just weighing out 10 grams and putting it on my like salad, veg or whatever. Wow, that's all I can say. Wow.
You made any fancy like pressed oils with like chili and garlic and shit like that, or no? You jazzed up yet?
Oh, fuck that. That'd probably just set me. That just set me off.
Yeah. That's interesting. Interesting discussion, folks. Should we move on to another question?
Oh, I have no more questions.
Really?
Not from listeners, anyway.
All right. Well, I want
a question in regards to how Kate was going to sort of approach the post show after this show.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting.
For the Arnold's is the main show. We know that.
Yeah, the thing is, it's such a double-edged sword because I've maybe got more of a shot at doing well at this regional. However, do I want to come in 100% at a regional to get a trophy, or do I want to come in at 85%, and then the next 4 weeks get better, and then come in at 100% or what we perceive as 100% for a show that I realistically, and this is me not being like, give me fucking sympathy or whatever, that I probably won't place at, because at the end of the day, Arnold's, it's the best of the best. Who the fuck do I think I am thinking that I could place at something like that? It's literally going to be a case of going in and seeing where I need to improve, which is it's one of them ones, because I'll probably look the best, yet my placing or lack of placing will be worse.
But you'll know that. You'll place.
That's why this year it's really got to be a case of, look, have I actually improved? Like, let's get pictures side by side. And I genuinely do think that we've improved like a lot. But at the same time, it's like I'm still so far off the mark. These girls are big. They're fucking big. I watched the Poland show, and there was like, it was actually really weird. They didn't do open classes. They just had everyone in the same class, regardless of height.
Okay.
And there was this class, there was about 7 of them. One of them was a bit meh, but the rest would be winning overalls at every single 2 bros. Like, they're massive. Their proportions are insane. The condition was really, really good. So yeah, I'm to be honest, I'm really excited for post show, because although I had a really good off season, there's so many things that I could have done better. So I'm excited to do that. Like, I already know that we pushed up body weight for the sake of pushing up body weight last time. So the first sort of 10-ish pounds that came off, I didn't look like I'd lost anything. In performance wise, I probably performed better at that 10 pounds down. So I'm really excited to sort of nail this post-show period. I know now what the hunger pain is going to be like. Like, I remember being sat in bed with like crying because I was so hungry. But I know that I can just, you know, push that to the side. And as long as I don't overeat, I do think that we could put myself in a much better position. And also training wise, I'm open to looking at different things.
Cool.
I've always done the JP, one work set, one back off, but obviously there's some parts of me that haven't grown as well as others. So why would I just keep doing the same thing over and over again? But yeah, post show, it's literally just a case of nail everything possible and not get fat.
Good shit. Yeah, it's I mean, I think it's safe to say from like the pictures and updates you've been given us lot, you have vastly improved. And it's not even, I think at this point now, like you are in the best condition you've ever been in. Like,
yeah, best condition I've ever been in by far, but still not good enough. Which is something that I need to remember.
Yeah, which is, I think, good. I'm a big fan of like that idea of putting yourself in an underdog position to see where you need to be. I think that's like a big thing. Like, that's what I did like in 2019. That was the whole reason I really wanted to do juniors, was because I was 19 and I was like, well, what do I need to be like in my early 20s to actually like place and shit like that. Like, I think that's important. So you know where the benchmark is, like where you need to be next time.
It's very easy to look up the most obscure show with the least sign-ups where, you know, there's 4 shows on that weekend, and then, you know, you win your class and you put it in your Instagram bio and you tell everyone, I'm a bodybuilding champ, I'm a bodybuilding champ. But I think for people with real ambition like Caitlin has, you need to see yourself against the top dogs, which is what she's doing, which takes some fucking balls. Fair play.
Thank you. You know what? I couldn't have chosen a fucking busier show, could I? Graftism. Jesus Christ.
I mean, at least you'll get a good seat to watch the rest of the show as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's gonna be a good show. Like, literally everyone. It'll be like walking around an Instagram feed. Like, fuck me. I think there's about 300 competitors, and put it this way, one of the biggest PCA shows that they've ever done was a first timers with 215.
Jesus. Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure the majority of competitors will be bikini. But even so, I'd much rather go and just literally just see what happens.
I quite like big lineups though. I like going through like the process of like at my second show, I was lucky enough to have a good amount of people in juniors, so it's nice having almost like different call outs and then doing the they're like grouping them
rather than just the 5 in the class.
Yeah, I prefer it like that, so it feels like you have to sort of like battle it out a bit more to make your way up to that like first call out or whatever, which is quite fun.
Yeah. One of the things, so the Body Bio Classic, I was just looking through the photos just to see what, you know, who was competing and stuff, because I always like to look at them photos. You know, when what's that account, Bodybuilding UK, it's called Adam or something, he always posts a link, so I just had a little look, and there was one open figure competitor. One. There was a novice class that had 4 people in. That there was one open, so I'm glad in a way that I'm not doing one like that, so I can't compare, because the whole point this year is not to come in and make some noise, like people say. Fucking hell, I'm not here to make noise. I'm here to compare. So I'm glad that I'll hopefully have the opportunity to compare.
Good shit. Yeah, I'm like going into next year. I kind of have that mindset of wanting to like again compare, but I also having obviously
Mate,
where
you've got three spots to go. You can only improve three
That's true.
places.
I only need to move up 3 spots to get a first up qualifier. But like for me, I'm in a different position now where I do actually, and having watched a bunch of shows as well so far, like this year I've been like going to shows again, seeing what the caliber is. It for me, it's now more of I actually am here to place now. But
yes, you know what? I think that is a big thing as well. So in 2019, you competed as a junior at 19.
Yeah.
You're going to go back whenever it is you do compete as a junior,
yeah,
more aged. So it's the exact same category, the exact same show. Obviously, you can't control who shows up, but you wouldn't be naive to think that you could have a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? I think and that's why you got to manage your expectations. People who have done NFM UK or something won their pro card, and now they're doing 2 bros on the road to pro. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, is it? So in one way, that's why I'm a bit like, damn, I'm doing 2 bros. I probably don't have a shot, but at the same time, like, if I don't know. I think it's one of them things, like, you've got to manage your expectations, and realistically, Jermaine, you'll have a very good shot if at 19, with, you know, a lack of training age and experience and just in general, you did well. I think that you'd have a good shot.
Realistic, for sure.
Yeah.
That's the plan. Midlands next year. I'm coming back. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into my question then, which I mentioned at the start, because I just love this question. I'm shocked.
Let's finish with this.
Okay. The question is: you have 3 different lives. How are you choosing to end in each of them? Was that it? Was that what it was originally? Or
pretty much.
In your lives,
You got like 3 lives. How you can choose how you die or something like that.
some dumb shit like that. How are you going out for the other 2?
What? How are you going out?
Yeah, in terms of like what situation.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't put yourself in if you had 1 life, but because you got 3, you want to experience it.
Bearing in mind, like the one we came up with last time was, I think it was jumping out of a plane, smoking DMT while boxing with a bear, while parachuting or some shit like that. So, yeah, go wild.
I said go. What was it? Like great white shark swimming without a cage.
Yeah.
If I'm just going to respawn back on the beach, like, I don't mind.
That's fucked up. Have you seen that video actually of the Jackass crew?
Yeah.
Stunt jump over on the BMX over like a shark infested pool, and he fell in and got bitten by a shark and it almost severed his arm off. Fucked up, man.
Classic.
Fucked up way to go.
No, the snapping turtle's the best one.
Something that I genuinely would like to do is, it's not that out there, but I would just like to take a shit ton of drugs and just get off my head. I know that I would never be able to do that now because I'd be so scared of like dying. But if I knew that I wasn't, you know, and if I knew that this was the end, I would just fucking love it. Like, can you imagine?
He's for the day.
That's funny.
I don't know. I don't know what drugs, but like I would just go absolutely ham. Yeah, just all of them. Just go absolutely ham.
Just a vibe
because,
of everything.
Yeah, I don't know, because I just wonder how far you could take this.
Interesting.
Would you do it with anyone or by yourself?
Huh?
Would you do it with anyone or by yourself?
I'll definitely do it with someone. That'd be funny as fuck.
Yeah. You wouldn't know each other were there after about 5 minutes, but
probably not. Probably not.
And they've only got 1 life.
So that's one
like,
life's gone. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Have you got
what I keep thinking of? Do you know those videos that you see on like Instagram and Facebook where someone's got like a camera strapped to the head and then I'm like a bike or a skateboard or something going along the top of a building, and the point is like, you know, like make you have that like fear of heights hit you, like some mad fucking just like going along like the edge of a cliff or the edge of a building or something on like a bike or a skateboard. It's like if you fall off, it's just like you've lost life in the game or something. So you've got like 3 more, so it's fun.
Yeah, chilling. That's a good one, actually. I quite like that. What, so you'd like BMX ride down the side of like the Eiffel Tower or something? Like,
yeah, just like on a massive like edge of a bridge or something.
Oh, shit. Down the wall of a dam. Nice.
Legend.
That's a good one.
One thing I really want to do, like just in general, I want to go skydiving.
Yeah. What, so you just go skydiving without a parachute?
Yeah.
Naked skydiving.
Naked without a parachute.
Fuck
Can
me.
you imagine?
They just find you and there's no...
Imagine how free you feel.
Oh, it would be very freeing, but like I'd have to hold my junk the entire time in case like a seagull.
What, in case it slaps you in the face or something like that?
No, what? My elastic, I've not got like the bad grandpa elastic nutsack. Like I'm not super stretched. It's fucked up. I think I'm gonna stick with like the bare knuckle fighting.
That's forever. That doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Like,
that will be how I go out, fighting a bear one-on-one. I bet I could give him a run for his money. I could get a few licks in on a bear.
I'd like to go back to like prehistoric times.
Yeah.
And see how long I could survive.
You just get eaten. What? So like
fighting a woolly mammoth or something like that.
Would you do like the thing like, so your death would be you get dropped on Jurassic Park and you're on Jurassic.
Why not? In the news, yeah.
Dropped off naked in Jurassic Park.
Why are you always clothless, Joe?
It was Sam's suggestion, not mine.
It's partly his own choice, partly someone else's.
I
feel like, Joe, you're the type of person that when you're drunk, as soon as someone suggests you take your clothes off, they're off.
No.
Have you ever had that before
No.
at a party? I've had that before at a party at some point where it came up at some point that I was a bodybuilder and then people wanted me to pose. I've had that happen to me before, and it's
always happens at uni. Always.
Very fucking awkward.
I mean, I didn't ingest any alcohol, but at Christmas time, there was like probably like 3-4 inches of snow. I just got down to my pants and just dived in the garden for no reason.
Nice.
So maybe I've not injected enough alcohol for a long time that I'm quite scared about what could happen, to be fair.
If I'm because I'll have done my pre-contest probably by Christmas this year. I might take a few check-in photos with like Santa's beard and shit and hat on, but then just posing trunks. Some dumb shit like that.
Bauble. A bauble.
Yeah, just hanging out either side of my trunks, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking gross. No.
But any final words from anyone?
I think so, mate.
Some final words. Joe, have you got your are we all sorted then for the Arnold? Because we'll be there.
Well, I'm gonna be there anyway. All 3 days.
I have sorted out getting to the pro show. So I've got tickets for that as well. Let me know if you get.
The thing was, like, I didn't want to sit. If I'm going, I want to sit on the first like section.
Yeah. So what I've got a seat in the mid. It's like pretty much in the middle, on the ground, like in those 3 columns, like in the middle. So I've got one of those.
In the middle.
Near enough, yeah.
In the middle.
You know what? Actually, I don't know if I want to say this.
Go for it.
Just say it off the air if you want.
Yeah, I'll say it off the air just in case people listen.
Uh-oh.
They do, believe it or not.
There's no. I mean, you'll understand. You'll understand.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the whole event. To be fair, it's going to be nice to.
I'm excited, assuming no bullshit happens with the government. I'm excited to see everyone at the Arnold because
should be good. Should be good. I'm there Saturday.
good shit. Alrighty. Thank you guys for listening and watching the Off the Script podcast. Savannah, Caitlin, would you like to shout out your socials before we go?
At Savannah Westerby, 2 N's and a H at the end because Starbucks always get it wrong. Pretty much all I'm active on. That's all you're allowed to add me on anyway. I've got a Facebook, but that's dead.
Yeah, same. Caitlin Hill. The A isn't A because someone has stolen my name. That's pretty much all I'm active on. Every now and again I'll update a photo on Facebook or whatever, but that's just got like my granddad on or whatever.
Yeah. Facebook's for like family and people you went to school with.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Very, very tame indeed.
Yeah. So no one don't add us on Facebook, you fucking creeps.
No, you'll be speaking to my mum. My mum's a teacher, so she uses my Facebook to just do shit.
Good shit. All right. Jermaine Sully on Instagram, not Solomon, even though that is my full name and people still think my last name is just Sully.
Do they really?
Yeah. People just think like they say it like Jake Sully as well, like I'm the guy from Avatar.
Oh, Sully.
Jake Sully. Yeah, people say it like that. It's weird.
They're like some fucking Aboriginal tribesman.
Yeah, I do look a bit like Tongan or something, don't I?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
Jonah
you. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.